And we're live. And this is the 14th Koraniyule with Matt or Mathuin. Is that right?
Well, it's better to say "for my people" because that's who I'm
For
known
my
as
people, for my
on the right
people.
wing. Yeah,
Yes. And yes, perhaps you'd like to introduce yourself. We met on X. And
yeah. Well, back in the 2016 Trump election, when the alt right started picking up or whatever, I made a sock account on Facebook with a fake name, and then I started getting in a lot of disagreements with people on the right wing, even though I was right wing myself. And so I created the channel on YouTube "For My People," and we were talking about racial differences, genetic differences, what makes people the way they are, and it was all real science. And they didn't like that, so they banned me in 2020. And then I've been going still though on Odyssey since then.
mhm.
But yeah, but I was starting to get a good little following. I had like 1,300 people. It's not a lot of people, but it was nice because they were all good people you could relate to. And anytime I started to stream, people would pop up, and you could just yak with people that were like minded and joke around and have fun. And so YouTube is a party pooper, pretty much.
Right. So,
Yeah.
what were people disagreeing with you about? People on the same side? You said they
Well,
other nationalists were not agreeing
there's,
with you.
there's a lot of white people that are mixed, and they don't realize they're mixed, right? But then there's people that are white that aren't mixed, right?
Hmm.
So, and just the origins of like history. I was noticing weird things, like you have the Chinese Caucasian mummies in China in the Taklamakan Desert. Have you heard of them?
No, no, I haven't.
Yeah,
So, um,
they they predate the first Chinese emperor, first Chinese dynasty, and their fabrics they're wearing are like they're like tartan patterns, and the sheep DNA tested the sheep. The sheep are from Europe or that direction, Western Europe. So they have some kind of genetic tie to the people from Western Europe. And there's all kinds of these all over the world. There's these Caucasian mummies in places they're not supposed to be in prehistoric times that like predate the Bible, the Koran, the you know what I mean, the Torah, all
mhm,
those holy
mhm.
books.
But isn't it really values that unite us?
But the
I
values
think
come from race originally, anyways. The laws, the idea of laws, of morals, that kind of thing. Like because when this group of people expanded out
yeah,
of Europe, they had to teach the people that were less evolved how to behave properly. So they basically domesticated them in a way, kind of like an ancient
well, that was
colonialism.
imperialism, wasn't it?
No, this is
But
before
then before,
colonialism. This is way before. This is like 10,000 BC, sort of 12,000 BC times. Even before then, there's been all these migrations out from the Silk Road. It's a lot older than what they're telling us.
yeah, but um, I guess people have been moving around ever since they could, and I guess it makes sense that if you're in the same territory, you're probably the same group, and if you're the same group, you probably have the same religion or culture, you know.
Yeah,
So um, it's kind of chicken or egg, I guess.
yeah, but things have changed in the world drastically. Like they found a lady buried in Siberia in the Altai, and she has blonde hair. She's tall. She was buried with horses, so she was like an Indo-Aryan warrior. This is pre-Islam, pre-Christianity,
Hmm.
uh, way back. So now, if you look there, the people are all Mongoloid kind of mixed, like Uyghur. What's the other groups? There's like four groups. I was watching it the other night, the Silk Road documentary.
Hmm.
French guy's narrating it or whatever. So demographics have changed. Like what I mean. Not just white people have been pushed into Western Europe. We were originally everywhere, all the way up to China.
Right.
Yeah,
So, um, yeah, because the Uyghurs are kind of European looking,
yeah,
right?
yeah. They're mixed. Yeah,
Hmm.
they're Eurasians.
Do you think race can be your religion?
Well, yeah, because I think your values and morals come from uh, your DNA, like your predisposition. It doesn't mean that all white people are good people or all black people are bad people or anything like that. But there is some kind of component to, I think, having Neanderthal admixture. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah, but
they were already doing a lot of stuff that they were doing things that humans uh, did in the Stone Age before humans, like fire and clothing, musical instruments, string. All these things have been discovered. Paint, pigment,
mhm.
drawing on cave walls, that kind of stuff.
But I suppose now, for practical purposes, you you sort of need to know that the person you're thinking of sharing the same life with,
Yeah,
to have children, for example, shares the same objectives. Like, do you want the same thing, and are you prepared for this, long-term partnership? I mean, it's kind of the same for,
oh, I agree with you there.
business
I agree with you
partnership.
there. But
Mhm.
I think you're marrying someone the same ethnicity is more important uh, than than values necessarily. Because if you're going to mix, you're just making a mixed person, anyways. Do you know what I mean?
But
Not saying that there's a lot of people that can't find a mate. You know what I mean? Even though they are the same DNA as well, because of brainwashing by society. Feminism, on and on.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I think people try and get the best deal that they can, and for quite a lot of people, it's really who's prepared to marry them that they can bear to marry,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But
Yeah,
before all this multiculturalism, people were separate for hundreds of thousands of years, right? That's why we have different races. That's why we have different ethnic groups. You know what I mean? So
sure,
that,
but yeah, but I mean, with global empires, I suppose it was inevitable that the empire would be moving people around, and then kind of breeding them with each other, and like some kind of dog breeder, I guess.
yeah, I get.
Because
Well,
that's what governments do, isn't it? They say breed, people breed, because we need you for cannon fodder and labor and
not
stuff.
necessarily, because like even up until the '60s, the British Empire was all over the world, right? I mean, when did the British Empire end? Like kind of officially, when they started giving up their colonies. What I'm saying is Britain and Canada, United States were still demographically majority white
Well, I guess they
up until the '60s, right? So even though they did colonialism, they weren't bringing these people
yeah. I
back.
mean, there was a Spanish
Yeah.
well, but it was only a matter of time before they did. That's the thing,
I don't
and
know.
I mean, we know from um, Athens, ancient Athens, that when they were really successful as an empire, they colonized all the countries around them, and then obviously brought back the vanquished peoples that they had conquered as slaves, and so did the Romans.
Well, that started with Islam. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, the Romans did it as well before Islam did it, and then other
Well, I mean,
cultures.
the whole point
Persians
of
probably did it.
warfare was to um, acquire booty, right? And that would
Yeah,
consist
literally.
of women and men as
Yeah.
slaves, and breeding stock.
Where's your YouTube?
So
Can you link me your YouTube? Because all I can see is the
sure.
streamer. I've tried to find it.
Let me.
I'm following you, but I can't find it.
Okay. Well, I am on.
Just want to see the
I'm
comments.
called Office of Secular Quranism,
Ah,
and
okay.
I
I just typed
will
in your name.
find you on the chat and post you. I've actually shared the thing, so
Oh,
you
okay.
should be able to find me.
Yeah, I see it. It popped up. Okay,
Okay,
cool.
okay. So you can share. You can retweet it now or something.
Oh, I'm not subscribed. Okay, I'm gonna subscribe. Let me mute
Oh,
the
that's
YouTube.
terrible. I'm
There
subscribed
we
to
go.
you.
I didn't I didn't even realize. I've been so busy doing all this stuff.
Well, I was actually quite offended yesterday when I was on a stream with somebody, and then I posted in the chat, and then I realised they weren't showing up, and I thought,
Oh shit.
you've disabled me from posting, you bitch.
Oh
You
shit.
know, so
Here, I'll
so
give
I
you a
guess
like.
I rage quit But I mean,
Yeah,
it's one of those sort of volatile relationships. Like,
yeah,
sometimes she blocks me, and then she can, allows me back, and that sort of thing.
yeah. Yeah, you were
Um,
getting mad at me there. I
so
said, don't get mad. I've just been busy. That's all. I haven't been.
yeah, 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 yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
How
What I
dare
wanted to
you
do is when I
disrespect
have
me
some,
and not even follow me?
yeah, when I have some free time, I want to actually like read your book on camera, but without my picture, and just put your cover on the video and like do like an audio book, and then me and you will do a stream, and then I'll just what I mean, and go over like stuff or whatever. That's what I
That would be
wanted.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could ever get this, I'm trying to get a blacksmithing career going on here. So at the end of the month, I got to buy a bunch of equipment, and that's what I've been doing. Is just
An anvil? Will you need an anvil?
no, I got two of those. That's no problem. I need a forge, event to vent the smoke out, like from running the forge, and a welder. Just I only need a few more things, and I got it. I should
Hmm.
be all right. Yeah.
What's a forge exactly? I
It
mean, what
just
does it do?
heats up the
Okay,
metal.
okay.
Metal becomes like
Uh-huh.
plasticine when it's hot, when it's red hot,
Uh-huh.
or even white hot, and you
Right.
can just hammer it into whatever shape you want, which is another white European invention. Like they'll say that it's not, but it is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, um, what have you made with your anvil and your
Some
smithing?
tongs. I've made a sword. I got three knives on the go, and then I'm making my cousin Joe a cleaver. It's like a fantasy, those fantasy kind of World of Warcraft ogre. It's he likes these little figurines, and they all have like really malicious looking like swords and axes and cleavers, and they're like it's like sci-fi kind of fantasy shit. Yeah.
Are they life size?
No, they're just little tiny figurines. But one of them had this
Oh, right,
cleaver,
right.
and the cleaver looked like the top of it looked like a crow's head or like a rhino. It's got this big horn on the end of it, so it's like a. That's what I've been making, and I have
Hmm.
to send it off to him. So, but
Right. So you're
I
quite artistic then, are you? Would you call yourself
yeah,
artistic?
I used to draw when I was a little kid, and then I went to music, and I can
Oh,
play like four different instruments probably.
four different instruments. What are they?
Guitar mostly, drums, bass guitar, but keyboards I'm kind of so. Like I learned like
Are you?
half of the Moonlight Sonata and like half of a piece of Bach. That kind of what I mean. Never really
Oh,
got
right.
up to a high
Uh,
level, but
do you have a guitar nearby?
yeah. Two here, an acoustic and
Do you think you might like to play for us?
a sure. Yeah, I'm noticing you don't got. So you need to get more people in here. Here, I'll share your stream on X.
Yeah, well, there's four people. I have shared my stream. You kind of need to
Yeah.
talk for a bit before they come. And also, I
Oh
know
yeah.
a lot of my competitors, they're also streaming. So,
Yeah. You're
yeah,
kind of
I mean,
using the millennial woes kind of theme. What does he do? A millennial Yule or whatever.
yes, he's doing his millennial. We've got Yon God here now. So,
Nice.
well,
I'm
he's, I
gonna
suppose
put
beggars
come
can't
join
be
us.
choosers.
Come
Yeah.
join us on Claire's stream. There you go. Hopefully I spelled your name right.
What you're inviting others to come?
Yeah,
Your
just for your on
subscribers.
your YouTube. On your
Oh,
YouTube. Yeah.
right, right.
Just anyone who's following me on Twitter. Get more people in here.
Yeah. So do you think you might show us your musical
Oh, the
talent? You going
guitar,
to?
yeah. Sure.
Oh, great, great.
I stream every day. I just do like it's kind of just me hanging out at my place kind of thing when I
Mm-hmm.
stream. So yeah, this is oops, out of tune. Uh,
Oh, that's
there you go, some Middle Eastern theme. Yeah,
I thought it was Spanish guitar. That's very impressive,
it's
Matthew.
like flamenco. Yeah, Yeah, I learned classical guitar when I was younger. So I was playing like Bach
Wow.
and Scarlatti and stuff like that. I don't know. I like finger picking. I just make stuff
Mhm.
up. You know what I mean? I'll make up a little. This is actually a classical guitar, but it's been converted to a steel string. Yeah, I make
Mhm.
guitars too. Oh, I can't play that one. That's so hard. Ricordo sto Alhambra. It's like it's got these triplets. I could never get it. Yeah, it's like that. You'd have to hear that one. That's. I knew a busker that could play that. Yeah, just stuff like that. I just improvise a lot.
Wow. Wow, I never knew you were so talented. I know a few people can play
Thanks.
the guitar, but not as well as that.
I was a busker. That's why I played. I had to survive by playing. So a lot of
Mhm.
times as a kid, I was a homeless street kid. Yeah, pretty much.
Where
Punk
was
rock.
your mother?
Oh, she booted me out when I was like friggin' 13.
Did you misbehave?
Yeah, we would fight. We would get in really bad fights.
Mhm.
But I wasn't
Mhm.
misbehaving too badly. It was kind of more of a reaction just against like getting abused and shit. So
Right, right.
yeah.
But now you
Anger.
get along better?
Oh yeah, now we talk. She lives down the road. She bought a house.
Mhm.
I bought some land down the road.
Mhm.
Yeah. We try. She's still very politically left wing or whatever. She believes what CNN tells you, you know what I mean? What the mainstream media tells you.
But I suppose even in previous centuries that there might have been something like the generation gap simply because I
Hmm.
guess each person sees the world through different eyes and different generations would,
Oh yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
and
Yeah, she's like the boomer generation. I don't know. How old are you again? I know it's you're not supposed to ask women, but
well, I'm no spring chicken, but
I don't think you guys are the same age as my mom. You're in your 70s? I have no idea.
I make a point of neither confirming nor
Ah, okay.
denying,
I know
and
you're somewhere around my age, but maybe a little more or less. That's all I know.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
And
guessing.
I like to think I'm not confined to my, I don't know, my race or culture or,
Yeah,
class.
yeah.
I like to think that I can, go beyond that. But who knows? Who
Oh yeah, no
knows?
worries.
Um,
Oh, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me.
mm.
I was just
So do you think race matters more than religion?
yes.
I mean, isn't it possible that you might find a woman that you of a different race that you like more than a woman of your own race?
Well, yes, it is possible. Okay, I'm right wing, but I believe ultimately in people's freedom of choice and people's personal rights. You know what I mean? Not like
Hmm.
a libertarian, but if people want to mix, let them mix. If people want to stay pure, let them stay pure. Like, you know, you know what I mean? It's up to them. Like
So
if you couldn't find anybody, a lot of white people are going with Asian women lately because I guess just the culture is different, how women are raised. I guess
yes, do you know Collective Dismal? He has a YouTube channel, and
No,
he's a Canadian, and
okay,
he's recently married a Chinese wife,
okay.
and he will be streaming from China. It
Holy,
seems
jeez.
so.
I wouldn't trust that because they're a communist country.
Well, he's always complaining about his wife. I mean, he's a
He's always
great
complaining.
storyteller.
Oh shit, that's not good. Sounds
Yeah, yeah,
sounds
but then So his history are confessionals and it's like a diary, and
Oh, okay.
but I guess there's something quite compelling about it. He has been a guest on Koraniyule, so you could listen
Nice.
to that.
But
Um,
how would he live in China without being on board with communism?
you don't have to be on board with it. Well, it's not even communist now, China,
No,
because it.
they are. No, they are communists still. Yeah.
Well, I mean, officially, but I mean, you
Yeah.
go there and you see shopping malls and lots and lots and lots of shops. So,
Yeah, that
uh,
doesn't mean anything though. All the capitalism is state funded, right?
well, at least the looking after things.
Yeah, but if you say
It may
things
be
against,
better than Western countries are. Well, at
no, I
least they're
don't.
trying to act in the national interest.
They're not. But that's a myth that's being perpetuated on the dissident right that Russia and China are better off than the West. They're not. You have absolutely no freedom if you say anything against the Chinese Communist Party or if you say anything against the war in Ukraine. If you're Russian, you know what I mean. It's not.
Well,
It's not better. It's better in a way that it's ethnically homogenous. Yes, they do have that going for them.
do you know the country with the largest number of Muslims in Europe? What country do you
Uh,
think that is?
not sure. Is it Russia?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
Russia,
Yeah.
and it's that's historically been the case, and I think more of Russia is actually in Asia than the European bit. So um,
Yeah. Well, that's because of the spread of Islam and into what the Uyghur area, like I guess all across there, like the across from the whole Silk Road, pretty much. Yeah.
yeah, so um,
And
I
the
mean,
Soviet Empire taking those areas, right?
yes, yes. I mean, I don't know, exactly the history, but I suppose, once you have an empire, ideas spread more easily than if you didn't have an empire.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's the advantage of, a global empire. Things just the world becomes smaller, communications and transport become easier,
Mm.
and then you get all kinds of foreigners in your country, and that could be a bit annoying. But there might
Yeah.
be advantages, I suppose, too, such as more interesting food or
Yeah.
a wider variety of possible um, partners,
Mm.
spouses,
It's
perhaps.
true. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
It,
mean, I've gone from the left to the center to the right, and now I'm kind of heading back towards the center because, like, a lot of people on the right talk about wanting to get married and have kids and all this stuff and save their race, but very few people actually want to get married because the values are, even if they're right wing and they say they don't like feminism, they're still, it's still ingrained and like kind of brainwashed into a lot of women in the West. You know what I mean? So that's where
well,
me and you agree on the what do you call it, the Koranism stuff. The it's more in
yeah,
regards to women. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, it just needs constant management, because people will just sort of naturally want to stray away from the straight and narrow. They want to,
Yeah.
go on a moral and social detour of their own. So you need these sort of safety rails, which are basically laws to say no, you can't ski off piste. You're not advanced enough or something.
Well, there
And
used to be punishments for adultery, and there isn't anymore. So that's the
well,
biggest
I mean,
problem.
these could be restored, because a lot of the Quran, sorry, not a lot of it, but I mean, there are definitely um, definite punishments for people who break the rules, such as
Yeah,
people who fornicate, or you know
but that's what I'm saying.
uh,
It's not so much about Islam or religion. It's more about just enforcing rules, a set of rules, right? Like people in the West used to spank their kids when I grew up, but then you now that it's like, oh my God, you spank your kids. You know, it's like a
that's child abuse.
yeah,
um,
exactly. Like there's been such a big change, right? You know, if you look at they filmed North America. They filmed that movie, The Scarlet Letter, right? That used to be Western culture. They put a big A on her, so a
mm,
big A on her dress for adultery, adulterer, and then she had to walk around with that she was like a, you know,
Mm.
promiscuous woman. So there was like a humiliation for being that way. But
Yeah, and people, well, it seems to me that liberalism is all about not making the punishment fit the crime.
yeah,
So, if it's effective, if it would work, they're going to reject it for some stupid reason.
yeah,
That always seems the way. Um,
yeah.
but
It's putting people's free will over what's good for all of society in the long run. It's more
yeah,
just your individual pleasures and what you want to do, kind of thing. People have
yes, and
lost that sense of thinking ahead. Like, how are your children going to turn out? How are your grandchildren going to turn out? Like, yeah,
yeah, and I suppose because we're not even told to think of the future, or thoroughly investigate our potential, spouse. Um, a lot of people are making the wrong choices, and then getting very angry when things don't work out for them.
yeah, for
I
sure.
Because I suppose, yes, you might find a relationship online or through a dating app, and the sex is great, but that's not necessarily a good thing, because it would blind you to the deep character defects of the person.
Well,
Um,
and is somebody going to stick around anyways? Like, you can meet somebody, have great sex, and then it just ends a week later or 2 weeks
yeah,
later
and
or a
then they
month
ghost
later.
you. It
Yeah,
seems
there's
that's a
no
new term.
there's no end goal to it, like marriage or monogamy. And I do think monogamy needs to be, you know, brought back. Like, it needs to be promoted, like the way it used to be.
Supported by law,
Yeah, that it's the best
supported
thing.
by the government.
Yeah, monogamous people should get the preference, not polygamous. What do you call it? Polyamorous people. Like,
Mm.
so. Yeah,
So I think a lot of it is people like you being prepared to say what they want, and I think a lot of people, they don't want to say, that they want to promote marriage, and I guess on a dating app, it's just too scary, too serious, and
yeah.
you
Well,
know,
then you've got the fake accounts. The biggest problem I'm noticing, I don't even go on those apps anymore because it's just Nigerians and people from India, and they're just all fake accounts with like pictures of white women's pictures for their profile. You know what I mean? Or generic Asian woman, the Korean woman's picture, or Japanese, or you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
yeah. And these days you can have an AI boyfriend or an AI girlfriend.
there you
You
go.
know,
That's
I
no
think
good
we're,
though.
we're,
You
we're
can't
heading for oblivion.
you can't physically touch that though. Like, what
No,
good
but
is
it,
that?
it it keeps a lot of people happy that
Uh,
they have somebody that talks to them in that way that they would expect a lover to, and it's actually better than having a real person to find fault with you and contradict you, and be
I don't know.
disappointed by you, you know.
I don't
So
know about that. You need
no, I'm
attention.
not saying you necessarily, but
You need
one.
some tension. Tension creates, tension relief. Tension relief. You got to have. That's the cool part of relationships, right? Is having a bit of a disagreement and then having makeup sex, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So.
And
Um,
someone that challenges your
Yes.
ideas, your thinking.
So, are you single at the moment,
Yeah.
Mathuin?
Yep.
And are
Yeah.
there any decent women around?
Not really. Not where I live. Really. I mean, the decent ones are already married, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of them got married when they're young, in their 20s and stuff. Then there's women that are divorced and took half their husband's stuff, and then what's the other bunch is I don't know. I hear a lot of people cheat around here. That's what I've heard.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's very quiet where you are. I suppose you're I mean, I guess it's a place where everyone knows each other, kind of thing.
sort of. Yeah, it's a small community. I'm related to the people that founded the community in the
Hmm.
1600s. So yeah,
Right.
we're all kind of third, fourth, fifth, sixth cousins, sort of thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So where do you imagine your long-term partner coming from?
I have no idea. I haven't even been thinking about that lately because I spent so many years chasing somebody. So
Mhm.
I've given up. That's why I've been just withdrawn. I've just been like not paying attention to politics, not paying attention to just. I've been in a negative mindset, so I've been trying to be positive and you know,
Mhm.
yeah, just not pay attention to anything that's going to make you go down make your mood negative or whatever. And just
Yeah,
working
yeah.
a lot. If I work with my hands, I just takes your mind off things,
Yes.
or play an instrument or do some art or
Well, you seem to have a very what's the word, rustic and solid kind of lifestyle that might appeal to some women.
oh, I hope so. Hope someone.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like an off grid sort of. I mean, I'm not off grid though. I have power here, but yeah,
Mhm.
it's like off sort of like the off grid lifestyle, country living. Yeah, I'd like to get animals again. I had animals here before. I had was it turkeys, chickens? I had ducks. Um,
Mm.
but I had a girlfriend, and we would take turns feeding them and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of work.
How long? So you're really looking for, well, I guess, a farmer's wife kind of person, right?
Oh,
A
just
city
somebody.
girl wouldn't do very well where you are.
Yeah, I'm looking for somebody who's kind of like a
A
hippie but right
country
wing.
woman.
No, sort of like a hippie but right wing. She's like used to be left
Okay.
wing, but she's gone more towards the right, gone
Uh-huh.
more conservative sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. And I feel maybe it's appropriate that I should ask you questions about your relationship, because we're sort of advertising your availability to women,
Yeah, yeah.
aren't
I don't
we?
mind.
So
I don't mind.
you won't feel intimidated or
No, it's fine.
um, so when was the last time you were in a relationship?
2020.
Oh,
In
well, that's
between,
not
yeah, in between there was somebody, but just for a short period. It didn't work out. She was
mhm,
promiscuous. Yeah,
right.
yeah, and I wasn't tolerating that. So
Yeah.
mm.
So, I don't know if I've been through this with you, because I tend to suggest to men or women who are single and looking, to think of three adjectives to discuss to describe their ideal partner. Such as blonde, buxom,
Lo-
bubbly, tall,
loyal.
dark, handsome, that kind of thing. Have you three adjectives?
Yeah, I would say loyal, cooperative. Not so much appearance. I would say like characteristics of the person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta
Right.
have somebody who's loyal. Like if you're gonna, people used to stay together their entire lives, right? That was like normal. Everybody in my family did that for hundreds of years, probably thousands of years. Mm.
Hmm.
My mom's like the first divorcee in the whole family, like
Right.
ever. So
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to one of my guests the other day, and I was saying, maybe the only way men can get control again is to declare a marriage strike, saying we're not going
I
to marry until no fault divorce is abolished, and then
don't, I don't
we'll
think it
be
would
more
work.
likely to marry. What do you
I don't,
think of that as a tactic?
I don't think it would work because women just, most women don't want to get married now. They just want to have sex. So, and
Well,
there's always a guy that will say like, yeah, I'm on your team, but then he'll go sleep with the women, right? So I don't think it would work. You know what I mean? He'd be like, yeah,
Well,
bro,
I
I'm on your
suppose
side.
you could kind of form a group, like, we are the men who declared a marriage strike, and um, then I guess I think that the first reaction of women would be, "Oh, we don't want to marry you anyway. Who would want to
Yeah,
marry you?"
that's what they'd say. Yeah.
It's that kind of thing.
No, I
And
don't want to
then
be part of anything like that. I want to get married. I want to get married.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So what happens is that, okay, I hope that what will happen is that eventually this movement will get bigger and bigger until it gets to the men, the eligible bachelors that the women would be disappointed and sorry not, to see on the marriage strike,
I don't think
and
it'll
then,
work.
huh,
I
you,
don't think.
you don't think it's going to work?
No, it's too idealistic because most women will just be like fine with it anyways because they just want to have sex and go for
Well,
the guys
perhaps
that
you
buy
you
them
can,
things.
yeah.
Guys that give them money, like the simps that give them money online and that kind of thing, right?
Well, I suppose you could start shaming them by talking about secular coronas.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually a guy I made friends with. He was doing that with it was like e-girls versus e-boys or whatever. It was like
Hmm.
basically the red pill, the red pill women that are like sticking up for men
Hmm.
on YouTube. Yeah, it was like those. It wasn't even them. No, it was the girls that just get money and they're kind of left leaning feminist sort of women or whatever, money and donations and he had the same idea. He was like, we should shame the simps because the simps are enabling these women, by just giving them money for being pretty essentially, and that's it. Even though they're like terrible people who have no interest in getting married or they're doing OnlyFans, they're just doing all kinds of terrible degenerate stuff, right? I think that's more
Mm.
effective. You got to hit them where the money is. You know,
Well, the whole cycle is very impoverishing, isn't it? Because,
yeah,
I mean, when you think about it, you do need a labor force to run a business.
yeah,
You can have a restaurant, a factory, it's like you need people to run it, to do stuff, to deliver goods and, I don't know, unpack the deliveries and stuff. So, um,
yeah. You'd have to make OnlyFans illegal and all
yeah, yeah,
forms
yeah. I mean, and we
all
have to
forms
have
of
men
sex
prepared
work.
to say that this is what they want.
Yeah,
You
then
have
the
to
women
say
then
that's
the
what's going
women
to
would
happen, and that's what we want, and it would be a good
yeah,
thing too.
and then the women would they'd be like, I want a guy who's gonna take care of me and provide for me instead of going on OnlyFans, right?
Well, exactly. So I mean, people just have to say these things, and I don't think at this stage, much needs to be done. They just have to be prepared to say what they want. But that's already an enormous obstacle for many people because they don't want to be identified as some kind of heretic,
Yeah, yeah,
or crank or weirdo.
yeah. It's
So,
always a buzzword like misogynist. Yeah, it's all these they use all these buzzwords: racist, misogynist, anti-Semite, Islamophobe. It's like they're just all buzzwords, shame words, kind of thing, right? So,
but there's less shame being attached to these words now,
oh yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
things are getting
People
better.
just
Yeah.
shrug now because they've been accused of these things so many times.
Well, people are waking up and they realize the problem, but it's like what to do about it now. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's the
secular Quranism. I mean, ultimately, all groups need to practice marriage in order to produce the next generation,
yeah,
and and they need to. It's more than just giving birth to them. You have to parent them, and
yeah,
and that's really the purpose of marriage. Just shaming any couple into staying together, even though they're bored with each other and irritated, and they've got
yeah,
fat or whatever.
yeah, yeah. That's funny. Well, and people need to match up better. Like it's interesting in India, they match people up with astrology. You know that?
Well, we can do this through psychometric tests. I mean, I have a very
Yeah,
simple
they're
idea.
giving.
Yeah.
There was
Um,
actually a dating company that wanted to do it by genetics. I wish it had taken off because I would have signed up and tried that. They were going to find people with complementary DNA to you. You know what I mean? There's got to be a way somehow.
well,
And
I
a
don't
lot of
think the
times, there's
government could do it. The
yeah, a lot
government
of
could
times,
do it.
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're single, and just because there might be a good proportion of women that are terrible, it doesn't mean that all women are terrible. There's probably a woman out there that's thinking just like the guy that's alone, that's lonely, and she doesn't like the way society is either. It's just trying to match these people up with each other because the people that get the spotlight and get heard and seen are the ones that are terrible, right? So it makes you think that things are worse than they actually are. You know what I mean? Kind of like how the news just puts bad news. They don't say like, oh, today a firefighter saved a cat from the tree or whatever. You know what I mean? Or saved an
Hmm.
old lady from burning to death in her house. It's always like negative, negative, negative news, right? So yeah,
Yeah, I think the government could actually be enormously helpful because, the government can run security checks, right, on the local boys and the local girls and know about their criminal records and,
Yeah,
any history of family insanity or whatever. They could do
yeah,
that easily. You
yeah,
know, men of fighting age, put with, women of childbearing age. And
yeah,
then that could easily be done.
yeah, for sure.
Um, So, well, I don't see why the government can't do it. I mean, I suppose at the moment they're just trying to think of new ways to stop us from marrying and having children because they can't be bothered with governing all these people, it would appear.
Well, it's the multiculturalism that screwed it up, though, because when it was majority white in, say, Canada, you're, you had more people that were similar ethnicity and similar belief system. And it was mostly Christian. Not that I'm a Christian, but you know what I mean. It makes it easier. Like in an Islamic country, it's probably a lot easier to find a mate because you're all Islamic, right? You know what I'm saying? So
Well, I think a lot of it is to do with families, right? One family meets another family, and
yeah,
they gossip, and they have children that they want to marry off, etc. But
yeah,
I think in the West we're so atomized now that people
yeah.
don't live with their families. They
No, for
live in
sure.
two-bedroom flats or something, with
Yeah,
their
like
flatmates.
my grandfather's from Essex and there, and he how did he meet my grandmother? They sent him over to Canada to teach radar because radar was brand new, during World War II.
Hmm.
Um, and they sent a bunch of British chaps both to Canada and to the United States to teach radar, and she happened to be working involved in that somehow too. And boom, there you go. So,
Mm.
and there was like things like dances. They had school dances. They had I don't know. There was just all kinds of social. There's not enough social events either. People are all inside their houses on the internet, right? So like before the
Well,
internet, you remember you'd have to go somewhere like a mall or a restaurant or a bar or what I mean to meet people. You had to go out. You couldn't just sit online, and meet people. Yeah, and
yeah, I
New
mean, pubs are closing, cafes are closing. That's what I've heard.
yeah, yeah. I think we need more social gatherings, people.
But
You
then
know,
you need more people and community halls and
yeah,
community centres, which are basically what churches.
yeah,
And I guess nowadays the pub would be the community centre for
yeah,
people, white people who are not Christian.
yeah.
But I think ultimately the problem is you know not taking religion seriously anymore because it's
No,
only
well,
it's
me
only
and you
people who
disagree
take
on this.
religion seriously who take marriage seriously.
I'm not religious, and I'm a pagan, so I'm like kind of. I agree that the values of religion helped more with all this stuff, but I don't think that's the be all end all answer to all these problems.
Well, I suppose um, for pagans, I mean, you'd have to have your own community center, right? And I
Yeah, yeah.
guess you might be a bit far away from that at the moment.
Well, I'm
Um,
not strict with it though. I'm not like it's more kind of just your ancestors. It's more just like returning to the original culture. Like say you lived in well yeah, aren't you from Asia somewhere? Like what was your
yes.
culture like before Islam, right? That's what I'm saying.
Um,
It'd be just like you returning to like trying to uh, study what your culture was like before Islam came there.
well,
Sort of
in
thing.
my case, well, I'm like you. I'm a product of the British Empire because
Yeah,
my grandfather, probably arrived in um, Malaya, as it then was, on a British ship because the British were basically shipping people hither and thither,
yeah,
to, you know, do their stuff,
yeah.
be workers and whatever.
My great grandfather was in South Africa, Hong Kong, and India. He was part of the British um, army or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I know what you mean. He was a total colonialist. He's got the curly mustache. We
Oh,
got an old
yes.
black and white photo of him, the curly mustache and the
Uh-huh.
uniform. So, but
Huh.
he fought in the Boer Wars. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Well, it does sound like your Canadian aristocracy.
No, just actually, I'm related to Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
How, would you like to say how?
I don't know how. This is the weird part. I did all the DNA testing and stuff, and I'm related to like almost all of Western Europe royal families, and at a close level too. I think I'm like the
Hmm.
byproduct of some illegitimate son or something somewhere. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Didn't they screw around a lot? Those royals?
Well, I suppose the men would find it hard to say no when,
Yeah,
women, discover, oh, you're Duke of this or that.
yeah,
Let
yeah,
me throw myself at you.
yeah. Exactly. Well, that's what I figures happened somewhere, even though there's no like record of it. It's like showing up in the DNA, so or something. I don't know.
Yes.
I think it's on both sides too, both my mom and my father. It's bizarre.
Yeah, so we'll have to think of a, um, I don't know, your dating profile. So
Why
so it would be what?
don't you make a
Canadian.
dating site? You can make a dating site.
Well, actually, years ago I did, and
Did you?
well, okay, it was meant to operate as a dating website for um, people who have are over their first marriage. So the idea was that they're not they're in a hurry. They don't want to, you know. Do all this sort of champagne weekends away and
Yeah.
be on best behavior. So it was also a politics website where
Hmm.
there'd be all these surveys and you voted for or against and you picked fights with people you know in the website. So you'd know how annoying the other person was,
Yeah.
before you
Yeah.
even met them. And if you think you'd still like to meet them, you two probably have something going for you. So that was the idea, but it didn't work very well because people
No, it's hard.
just hated the
I've
idea.
I've been on those white nationalist ones. What there's Wasp Love. What's the other one? White Date not dot net. They don't stop non-white people from joining though. That's the problem because they can't. You know what I mean? And people can make fake profiles, so it's like yeah, it was funny. I went on there and I was like, oh, I used to have 120 acres. I was like, oh, I got 120 acres, my own business. I'm looking for a wife, trying to find, I want to marry someone. Some Jewish lady like doxed me. She didn't say my name, but she wrote an article, like a mainstream article, and she mentioned my profile and a bunch of other people's profiles. It's funny. So she was one of the female profiles in there on one of the supposedly white dating sites. It was quite funny.
What was she doing that just to be awkward, or was she hoping to
No,
date
she
a
doesn't
white
want.
nationalist?
You know how Zionists are. They want like it's okay for them, for Jewish people to marry other Jewish people. It's okay for them to have a an ethno state, but they really hate when white people do it. Yeah, because we're seen as
Mhm.
like their enemy to them. They want to be. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, some of them take it seriously and others don't, I suppose. I mean,
Yeah, so she was actively going on a all white dating site, knowing she's Jewish, and she knew she was a reporter. You know what I mean? So she's actively going on to sabotage white people finding other white people to marry, right? Deliberately, and she should just not pay attention to it and not bother with the people there, right? Like, who cares
mm.
if two white people, marry each other and have white children, right? Like, I don't get it. It's
But I
it's
guess she
like
was a journalist, so she had to write about it.
I think she chose to write about it. I don't think she
Oh,
had to write about it. Yeah.
right. And she chose to write about you because you're one of the bigger personalities of the.
No, no, she
No,
just picked me because I had resources and land and a business or whatever.
right.
Because they like to get people cancel culture. They like to get people fired,
Mm.
right? And
Do you think she might have been attracted to you?
uh, a Jewish lady? I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, she might have, found you attractive, and then you spurned her, and then she got mad at you.
No, no, not at all. No, I
Maybe
didn't even.
she.
She tried. I think she tried to talk to me for a bit on there or something, and then she just pretended she was like a white nationalist, right?
But and you weren't convinced, you didn't like her, and you
No,
spurned her, and then she got mad at you.
no, nothing like that at all. No, she just wanted to sabotage single white people from finding partners. That's it. That was completely malicious. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Did you get much interest on these websites?
No, because I disagree with a lot of the right too. The right wing. They're always
On what
they're
matters do you disagree with them?
I don't revere Hitler.
Hmm.
I'm not a national socialist. I'm not a Christian. Most of the white nationalists are like national socialists or Christians. You know what I mean?
Are the women that fussy? Don't they just sort of think, oh, he looks like a nice looking guy. I think I could
No,
live
they
with
are.
him. You know, I'll just ignore his sillier views that I don't quite agree with. No, are women really that fussy?
Yeah, they are really.
Hmm.
Yeah, the right wing is like I said, it's like a contradiction. They believe in the Bible and Jesus, but they think Jesus was white. It's like this weird form of Christian white nationalism. Yeah,
I mean,
They think the original Jews were white too. So it's like really weird. Yeah.
no, but the thing is, the Jews aren't supposed to be racist because they're also obliged to accept converts, aren't they?
I
So, because I think that was a story of what Naomi or what? No, one. She
thought
was.
you had to be ethnically. I think your mother has to be Jewish for you to be Jewish.
Yeah, but they have to accept converts. I mean, the
They
Zoroastrians
don't though.
don't.
They don't though.
Pardon?
They don't though. There's not very many Jewish people that aren't ethnically Jewish as well. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Religiously
the
Jewish.
thing,
It's kind
yeah,
of an ethno religion. It's like totally different. Islam, like anyone could become. You know, you're Asian and you're Islamic.
yeah, it's quite easy to become Muslim, but
Yeah.
I mean, for Jews, there are different kinds of Jews, right? I mean, the sort of
Oh
four
yeah.
groups of Jews, if you want to, categorize them properly, like the
Yeah. Yeah.
ultra orthodox, the traditional, the religious, and then the secular Jews.
Yeah.
So,
True.
I mean, that's how they're classified in Israel,
Yeah.
and they often don't agree about
No,
lots of
they
things.
totally they disagree with each other a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another false narrative on the right wing that they're all secretly working together, against white people. Like, and it's not true at all. They don't even agree with each other half the time. Half of them are like leftist, Marxist. What do you call it? Atheist. And the other half are like orthodox, very religious, conservative. So it's funny.
Yeah, and the religious ones are constantly accusing each other of heresy.
Yeah, yeah,
The ones who take
yeah. We made a
everything.
space on X. Remember, I told you about it. It was Jews, why do you hate white people? And it just like a crap load of Jewish people came on and they're like, we don't hate you. What are you talking about? Right. And it got really interesting, like just the debates. It's still up there on X.
Hmm.
People want to listen to it. It was fun. It was really fun.
Mm,
Yeah. Triggering title to get people to come to the space. I was doing spaces
yes,
every day. That's how I met you. Yeah.
yes. Was it your space?
Yeah. It was my space. Yeah.
It was your space. Okay, I
Yeah.
can't remember that one.
I'll put my Twitter name on there in your chat. It's different
Are
than.
there dating spaces on X?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
There's
okay,
OnlyFans girls on X and all kinds of porn, but there's not that I've seen any kind of no.
right.
Well, see, okay, the problem with being on the right wing is everybody hides their face because they don't want to get
Hmm.
doxxed by the left and by Antifa,
Hmm.
right? So how do you even know if you're talking to a person that's white, or how do you even know if someone's like you're attracted to them, or you just don't know who you're talking to like half the time, right? So
Yeah, but it doesn't quite a lot of it come through, even if you can't see them. You might like the sound of their
eh,
voice, and they kind of make themselves
sometimes.
agreeable to you.
See, yeah, but it's completely opposite on the left. Their beliefs are politically acceptable by the government and most of society. So it's like people on the right have become what gay people used to be in the 50s. You know what I mean? Like kind of closeted. It's like
Yes.
politically right wing closeted kind of, yeah. And they need to get out of that. They need to just be, yes, this is what I think. I don't care if you dox me. I don't care what you do. You know what I mean? They need to show their faces and stand up for what they believe in. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Because the more people that do that, the less power they have, right? They only have power over people if, if they can get you fired, or if they can wreck your life somehow, or get people to be violent towards you, or right now the
Hmm.
advantage is on the right, because you've got Trump in power, right, in the United States.
Yes, and these insults ending in ist have lost their sting.
Hmm.
It
Yeah,
seems.
exactly. Yeah, because like the left has gone so far left that like it doesn't matter what you disagree on them with, you're a Nazi or you're a racist, or yeah, it's gotten ridiculous, like to ridiculous levels of yeah, strange.
Well, they accuse each other of being Nazis, and what I've
Yeah,
noticed about Jews is that they also accuse each other of being Nazis.
yeah, yeah. The pro-Palestine Jews call the Orthodox anti-Palestine Jews Nazis. It's funny.
So do you have a kind of profile um, composed that might make you sound attractive?
Nope, not
No,
really. No,
right.
I just stream every day. I stream on Odyssey,
Well, I think
Rumble.
to keep a bit of your mystery, perhaps,
What?
but by not. Well, I mean, I guess maybe it only works for women or something. It's like, well,
Yeah,
don't show all your wares.
yeah, yeah.
But um,
I'm not having any luck with anything, but I'm getting old, right? I'm 52 now, so.
well, you're not a bad looking sort of chap
Oh,
in
thanks.
this light, and you. Well, I don't know. You have a nice sounding voice, and you seem, like a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm,
Um,
I'm a nice guy generally. Yeah, I do have a
yeah.
bad temper though as well. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, I started out really nice when I was a kid, but then
Hmm.
people just take advantage of you, and so after like a long time of being mistreated, like you're gonna get a temper, you know what I mean, after a while, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
If bad things happen to you over and over again. So I
But
kind
yeah,
of
I
just
think.
given up on a lot of, like, everything I thought I was part of. The people are just, I don't know.
Mhm.
There's a whole big story behind that too. Like the right wing, everything went different than what I thought it would. I thought I'd get like a massive following, like all these other people, but now I
Mhm.
see that they're being funded. A lot of these people,
Mm.
yeah, like by Russia, or
Or,
it's
or
fake.
even, by the deep state.
Yeah, it's
So,
like, yeah, Jews fund the dissident right, like themselves. A lot of these
well, I'm
people.
sure, look, the non-whites are nervous about the immigration. It's
Yeah,
like, those who've been here, don't like the immigration. So I
yeah,
imagine lots of Jews feel the same thing. I mean, not all Jews are liberal after all.
no, for
And
sure, yeah.
mm,
Yeah, and that's like your country. Like, I'm sure a lot of people that are Asian are fine, but then there's people that are, well, I know in England you guys call Asian brown people as well. So it's, I mean, East Asian people are probably better behaved generally than some of the Pakistani. The stories of the Pakistani grooming gangs and things like that. And so people have a legitimate reason to be scared of immigration, because they're seeing like high crime rates from these things, right? Lots of
mhm.
assaults, murders, rapes. Like, so it's funny because the liberal women are the ones that vote for these policies, like let in the foreigners, and then the foreigners rape them. And so it's like, yeah, they don't see the long term effects of their. They don't understand the safety they've enjoyed in Western civilization is from Europeans, European laws, and it's not so
Well,
much religion.
it's because the system is all rigged because both parties support immigration. So
Yeah,
who is one to vote for, really?
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because both parties have been kind of taken over. I guess.
I mean, it's like a corrupt political cartel. They pretend that there's some difference, but it doesn't matter which party you vote for, you get
No.
the same policies. And this is, what the Chinese joke about the West. It's like, well, we may only have one party, but every now and then our only party does change its policies. They have so many parties, but they never change their policies.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
mm,
Yeah, well, look at Japan. Like Japan, if you can just like ask AI or ask Grok or even just Google it, like look at the crime rates of countries that are homogenous, and it's very low. Like Japan has a super low crime rate. China probably same thing. Korea, you know what I'm saying? Like everywhere there's a high crime rate, and I think some of it's just the clash of cultures too, the differences in how people, what they think is right and wrong, and how they behave, just everything, So they're just kind of trying to force everybody together, and that's why it's not working. People used to have to assimilate, like they had to, at least try to pretend to be part of the culture. You know what I mean? In Canada, it'd be like Remembrance Day, wearing a poppy, or Christmas,
mm.
Easter, that kind of stuff, like holidays. I don't know.
Well, in China, what they do is that they have kind of authority figures who shout at you for not sitting up straight and stepping on the grass. Park attendants, and this is what um, America used to have. They would have park
I would love that
attendants who
job.
could boss you around and shout at you,
I would
right?
love that job. Just give me a uniform and I'd be like just swear and curse at people all day. That'd be awesome. Get off the fucking grass. Pull your pants up. They're sagging.
Yes.
All those people
Sit
that wear
up
their
straight.
yeah, all those people wear
Do
their
you think
pants.
you were a tramp
Yeah.
lying there like that?
I can see your fucking underwears. Pull your pants up. Turn that rap music down.
Hmm.
On and on. You put some more clothes on. You're gonna get raped at a fucking nightclub if you don't cover those boobs up.
Where's the rest of your clothes?
Yeah, where's the rest of your clothes? Yeah.
Why are you just wearing your underwear?
We don't have to go full Islamic like with veils and and the burqa and all that, but we should.
No.
But we do need some modesty laws, like where you get like a fine or something for showing too much cleavage, or I don't know, like
Yes.
we need modesty. Or didn't they in Europe? They used to have a. Didn't women wear like a?
Yeah, they
Uh,
had a hijab, right? Yeah, I mean, it didn't look like the Muslim kind of hijab, but they wear something over
it was
there.
called a scarf
Yeah.
or a kerchief or something, or yeah, married women like the Amish. The Amish men have a beard, minus the mustache, right? And that means you're married. So it's
Hmm.
like a visual symbol, saying don't flirt, ladies, don't flirt with this man. He's taken. He's a married man. And the women, same thing. They dress like
Yes.
differently once they're married. So it'd actually be good
Yes.
because women, if they didn't want to get hit on, they could like wear the clothes of a married woman, right? uh, it's funny.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, talking about Jews, did you know that nearly half of the 36 capital offenses of the Torah are sexual offenses?
Yeah,
It,
doesn't surprise me.
it sort of just made it all clear, like
Yeah,
there's so many rules, and about half of them are sexual offenses, even though these Jews, they didn't have dating apps or singles bars, and I guess they all lived together in their extended families, but they
yeah.
still got up to stuff, and they had to be punished.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that happens in every community.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think.
So,
But
so
you
I,
need.
I think really the problem is defining sexual morality.
Yeah,
Because I guess the liberal view is that um, it's fine for one consenting adult to have sex with another consenting adult, and
yeah,
but that's obviously too low because it includes as well as fornication, or
well,
adultery, and
I don't know.
sodomy. It includes incest.
Yeah, I'm probably not as hardcore as you are on those ideas. Like, I think it's okay for consenting adults to have sex, but I think the goal of sex should be to be monogamous so that you get regular sex. You know what I mean? Uh, just for
Yeah.
that, you could phrase it that way instead of trying to like enforce people um, being monogamous, you could just like promote it that you're going to get the most regular, steady sex, and it's going to be the best sex if you just stay with one person, versus the person that's running around sleeping with everybody else. There's a lot of practical benefits. Like you're not going to catch an
Mhm.
STD if you stay with one person, your whole life. Like just there's lots of reasons not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So monogamy would, should be the ideal, except that,
Yeah.
you know, people will cheat,
Yeah.
so they'll think, well, I don't want to
That's
have
where
a
you need the
baby every
punishment.
time I have sex. So, and I want to have sex with, somebody of my own sex and,
Yeah.
somebody else's spouse and,
Yeah. Yeah.
all kinds of people.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to say, like, well, this is not allowed. But, obviously you don't want, bedroom police. Uh,
No, for
but
sure.
you have to say it's not allowed. And that's why, all these offences need to be defined.
Well, what
Otherwise,
they used to do in custody cases, they would give the man the custody of the children if the woman cheated, right? So
hmm
that's a good way. Whoever cheats loses the custody of their kids. They get to visit
hmm
their kids, but they don't get to raise the kids, right? That's
yes.
a good. We need incentives. Um, you know, like Islamic culture would go straight to the brutal punishment, but and in the
Oh,
West,
well, no, I mean,
that's not going to work.
in divorce cases, I believe the rule of thumb is, the children, in the case of divorced parents, go to the mother until they are 7, and then they return to their father.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's such a night. Okay, so the
it used to go to the father though. They used to
yeah.
preference males. They used to preference the husband in the 50s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, up until the feminist movement or whatever. They used to preference the father, whoever didn't commit adultery, and usually because the father was the men would work. Women were more stuck at home kind of thing. There was less jobs for women
hmm
than there are now. Now women can find jobs anywhere, right? So
hmm
part of it's also the working world as well, just
hmm
being so inclusive with letting women work. I'm not saying don't let women work, but I'm saying it doesn't help either. You know what I mean? Women used to have to rely on men for protection, for resources, for it's making men not necessary. That's causing a lot of these problems, right?
well, yeah. So it's up to men to change the rules.
Yeah,
To abolish equal pay, maternity leave, and you know,
I don't know if you're going to get that though, because people have had this taste of absolute freedom, you know, absolute sexual freedom and absolute economic freedom. They're not going to want to go back to something that feels repressive, right?
well, I mean, but then you have to say why. So, but I don't see why it's so hard because everybody's complaining about their government, right? So the moment they complain about their government, you can just go in and say, well, the government is bad because A, B, and C, and D, E, and F, and
But
so
I mean, I'm just saying you sound more concerned with what everybody's doing. I'm more concerned with what my mate's going to do. Do you know what I mean? It solves the problem if I just find somebody who is monogamous and doesn't want to cheat and do all this stuff than trying to change everybody else's behavior. You know what I mean? To set an example, like who's a good example? Have you watched that young couple? I was watching them this morning. Based Camp. It's a young
no,
nerdy
no, no.
fella.
What's that about?
They're kind of right wing or whatever. I think they're Christians. I don't agree with that part, but they have a lot of good streams they've been doing, and they're a good example because they have children, and they're
hmm
living together and they're working together. They're streaming together. So
hmm
I think a lot of the problem is showing people by example. You know what I mean? There needs to be more couples uh, being streamers in public and encouraging monogamy versus like trying to enforce it. Kind of, you know what I
Well,
mean?
I mean, manifesto, can't just be, isn't it nice, happy families? It's
Yeah.
more like we'd like a few changes, and here's a list of the changes we'd like to see. And then people can go, they can agree or disagree, but at least they can talk about it. I mean, that
Oh,
would
for
be a
sure.
start because, what you don't ask for, you won't get.
Yeah,
And
but the
I think a
problem is
lot of people have seen failure,
you've
you
got
know.
feminists versus MGTOW people, and the MGTOW people want to go back to like almost Stone Age times where women have no rights at all, and then the feminists want to go just like, women can do whatever they want, including, I don't know. It's just two extremes of the same but opposite kind
Yeah,
of things, right? And it's not that's not really producing couples either, or monogamy. It's producing a whole bunch of men that hate women and a whole bunch of women that hate men, and
they
it's
have to be brought, the parties have to be brought to the negotiating table. Let's
yeah,
put it like that. But obviously the government could do it if it wanted to, but it doesn't seem to
yeah,
be, up to doing anything constructive like that.
no,
I mean,
well,
it seems that they want us to die gay and childless and transgender. That's what
if
they
you're white,
want.
if you're Muslim or African or any culture but not white, they totally encourage you being monogamous and patriarchal, and you know what I'm saying. It's like a double standard at the same time.
Well, I think what once the non-whites have been here for a while, they'll assimilate the culture and they'll be subject to the same pressures, I suppose, as white people,
Yeah,
and they
the
will
same thing
be
will
a
happen.
good example.
That's probably the biggest threat to Islam is the Muslim people that do live in Western countries and then bring back our culture to their countries, right? Yeah.
Well,
When
yes,
you think
which is why the rules are so important. It's sort of this is what we're supposed to do, and are we doing it? No,
no,
and therefore something is wrong.
for sure. No, we agree on that. I agree with you on the
Mm.
monogamy. Well, I mean, in Islam, you've got polygamy, though. It's marriage. It's marriage polygamy, I guess.
Well,
It's
yes,
not. It's not
for the
polyamory.
four wives max rule, but I
Yeah.
mean, most men just don't have the resources to have even one wife, let alone four.
Well, yeah, and the problem with that in Islamic culture is if you have a man getting four wives, he's taking away wives from other single men, right? That do have the resources to take care of one wife. You know what I mean? So you end up with
Mm.
a whole bunch of men with no children and no wives, right? That's kind of the
Yeah, well, which
problem.
is why they sort of limit the number of wives,
Yeah. Oh,
the
yeah, for sure.
maximum number of wives, because obviously the women will think, oh well, it means that we have less work to do if there's more of us to this one man, you
Yeah. Well, that's why
know.
you had sultans with harems of
Well,
tens of
yes.
thousands of women, right? Yeah.
But that's why the caliphate crashed and burned because he had all these women, and obviously that exceeded the four wives max rule,
Yeah.
and he well, I guess maybe he spent too much time with his wives.
Yeah.
The way King Solomon did, because he famously had 700 wives and 300 concubines. And then
Jeez.
when he died, his kingdom split into two because he obviously didn't, spend enough time teaching his sons the art of kingship or something.
I have a theory about that. That's probably where bisexuality comes from in women. Like if they were forced into harems through like a lot of history, they probably, what, not one man isn't going to be able to satisfy 700 women, you know.
Yeah,
So
I guess they'd have to keep themselves
yeah,
entertained. Then
exactly.
men in jail
Yeah,
get up to stuff with each other, don't they?
exactly. Yeah, it's the same thing. The Romans did that kind of crap. The Greeks. Not saying it was like the norm, or I don't know, but they did do that.
Well, I mean, it was obviously a norm for quite a while because
Yeah,
the Romans. I mean, there was talk of introducing a bachelor tax because they were having problems with their demographics too, and the
yeah,
government said, "Well, if you're going to be bachelors, we're going to tax you," um, but they never got over it because
the
they
pagans came
already
in.
had a culture of having sex with younger men, right?
Yeah,
Younger
my
males.
my my ancestors, the Longobards, came in and destroyed Rome. So it's awesome. I'm glad they did.
But then it shows that all empires fall because they
Yeah,
lower the standards of sexual morality too much,
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
right? That must be and
Well,
and
and Rome was multicultural, so they allowed like they'd conquer a culture and then they'd be like join us in our military if you want. So there was
mhm.
like they conquered half of Germany, so like Germans they allowed people in their military that were conquered people, and then ultimately those people turned on them. Yeah,
Well, but they also hired mercenaries because I guess
yeah,
once upon time they expected the plebs to join the army, and then they were overwhelmed by so many slaves that and really the rich people just prefer to deal with the slaves rather than pay freemen
Yeah, for sure.
wages. So that's why they had bread and circuses in Rome.
Yeah.
The plebs were given, yes, I guess a bread dole and entertained with the games to stop them from rioting.
Yeah, my prediction is multiculturalism is going to collapse. It's all going to collapse because it's not natural. Like you have nothing to protect if you're not protecting your own people. Do you know what I mean? And this is true
Well,
for
yes,
every
because I,
culture.
I I think it's so important that every group has its own working class,
Yeah.
right? Because if you have a working class of some other group, like actually the Israelis, I mean, they can't do their own work. They have to get the Arabs to do
Yeah.
construction and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're not a proper society.
Or they
In
don't
fact,
want to.
they
Yeah.
they, they have the same problems as us, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah. But if a culture is homogenous, then you there's a mutual benefit. You're all fighting for the same group. You know what I mean? The more they divide people up, the more they promote multiculturalism, the more a culture is divided. So the less people care about their neighbors, right? Whereas like where I live, everybody knows everybody, and they're all the same ethnicity mostly. So you know what I mean? We all look out for each other, neighbors, because you're just it's just instinctual. It's hard to explain. You know what I mean? Like where
Mm.
your family comes from. I'm sure it's mostly Asian people, right?
Yeah, but we have. I mean, civil wars have been known to break out.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's not well,
no,
the American Civil War, white and Christian, but different
yeah,
economic interests.
yeah,
Um,
true.
the
Yeah,
Russian
isn't there
Civil
like a
War,
war? Isn't there a war going on right now with who is it? Cambodia and
uh, and Thailand, yes.
yeah, yeah. But is Cambodia so Cambodia is very communist though. Yeah. Pol Pot and all that. Or they
Mm.
were. They were anyways. I don't know. What's Taiwan like? Aren't they more liberal,
Well,
more
well, Taiwan's kind of you know westernized
yeah, yeah.
and and
Yeah.
and, and, and really under the control of America, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
don't like Australians go there to like sex tourists and shit like that.
oh, Thailand, yes, yes,
Yeah,
sex tourism in
yeah,
Thailand. Yeah, but I mean, but this is it. It's all about labor management,
yeah.
and
True.
and 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 people, don't seem to realize that you have to produce the labor force through
Yeah.
being parents and that kind of thing. And obviously, feminism is always bribing men with cheaper sex than marriage. Because
Yeah.
I guess in the olden days, everybody understood you're not supposed to have sex with anybody but your spouse, and you're only
Yeah.
only allowed one,
Yeah.
and,
Well,
and you
it's
have
not
to choose only one. So think about it
it's
carefully.
actually not cheaper and cheaper sex though. Sex is getting more and more expensive. Like in the 60s it would have been easier to just buy some weed and get a hippie girl stoned and have sex with her for free. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now it's like even just like 20 years ago you could probably go get a prostitute for $20, right? You know what I'm saying? Now you're going to pay hundreds of dollars if she even wants to speak to you, never mind. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's why there's the stuff like OnlyFans is happening because you basically got a bunch of lonely horny males watching women play with themselves and they don't even get touched. They're paying money to not even get touched. So,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Whereas like 20, 30, 40 years ago, you could just, buy somebody
But
drinks.
but is brothel keeping legal in Canada or not?
No, but it's not punished hardly at all. So it's almost
Mm.
basically like legal. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because really, under secular Quranism, there would be a red light district, and
Oh,
prostitution
really?
would, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
It,
that.
well,
Yeah, I don't
but
agree with that at all. I totally disagree with prostitution, except for in like charitable,
do what
like
charity?
well, if a guy's like in a wheelchair or something and he just cannot physically, you know what I mean? Like if it's like merciful, charitable, like a service, like kind of that kind of thing, but not
Right,
just for
but
someone's enjoyment.
it's not actually banned in either the Bible or the Quran. So, um, you know, and there is a verse in the Quran that seems to be saying that.
Yeah, I would
Um,
punish if it was me. I'd punish prostitution with death penalty. Yeah.
really? Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm more hardcore than the Islamics on that one. I
Right.
guess maybe.
Right.
Yeah,
No,
because
but I think
that's what
eventually.
that's what enables all this to happen. Women having sex for
No.
money
No.
enables all this non-monogamy and all this no marriage and no children. Yeah.
No. I think prostitution would actually make the bargain clearer. So a woman has to decide whether she wants to be a married mother or a prostitute, and there's nothing in between. They can't be,
Oh,
girlfriend
I
of
see where you're going with
whoever.
that.
Hmm?
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So then the woman thinks, well, of course I want to be a married mother. Who wants to be a prostitute? But what I think is happening now is that most women supplying sex are neither wives nor prostitutes.
No, they're kind of in
And
between. They want a boyfriend, but they want to. You'll see porn stars. That's what they do. They've got a boyfriend, but their boyfriend's a cuck, so he's allowing them to do porn, right?
mhm.
They want both almost. It's like bizarre, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
and
so the rules just have to be clearer.
this makes weak beta men that'll tolerate their wives doing sexual things with other men are beta males, right? The man should be
Yes.
in charge. The man should be in control over women's breeding, not women. That's the problem. That's the essence of the whole problem. We should be in charge of when women have children and with who and when.
But I suppose for a lot of men, it's like, oh, it's too much trouble, and I'm not going to get sex for ages if I if I want to want to go undertake that project of changing the rules. So they never get started because they assume failure from the beginning.
Well, men used to
So
be able to discipline women like they discipline their children, right?
mm,
And that's been taken away as well. If your wife cheats on you and you hit her or discipline her, you're going to go to jail, right? So that's the power of feminism right there. Is it's just take away that right and it all falls back into place. The Vikings had a law like that. The Vikings had a law. Um, what do you call it? If the woman caught her husband in bed with another woman, she could kill her husband, and if he caught her in bed with another man, he could kill both the man that's cheating with the wife as well as the wife.
mm,
But if it was only word of mouth and it
mhm,
wasn't like physically proven, like seen, caught in the
yes,
act, then
yes,
the woman was allowed to divorce the man if he had cheated, and vice versa.
hmm
That was like a good law. Even if you listen to Tacitus Germania, it's
Oh, Matthewin's frozen. I can't hear him anymore. Can you hear me, Matt? What should I do? I'll read the chat. There's not much to read in the chat, but I see that I have 14 viewers, which is nice. So, what should I do? We've been going for nearly 90 minutes, 1 hour 23 minutes. He's Matt's dropped out, and perhaps it's time for me to say goodbye. I will put Matt's channel, etc., in the description a bit later if you'd like to check him out, ladies. So thank you all for coming by, and I hope our conversation entertained and informed you.